So I just took a few questions from comments on my YouTube videos, and I'm going to answer them in this video. I feel like it's a little more helpful to include it in a video so that other people can also benefit from these answers. So I'm just going to start off. So the first one is, what if you ship without tracking, like with a stamp, and the envelope gets lost or the buyer says they never received it? So first and foremost, I would recommend shipping with tracking because there is an option through Etsy. I don't know if other platforms have caught up with it yet, but I know for sure Etsy offers an option to ship with tracking for basically the same amount it costs to purchase a stamp, or even cheaper sometimes. So I will say, if you can, definitely consider shipping with tracking. And if you're not sure how to do that, I will have the video of that linked somewhere up here. Now, if you still do decide to use a stamp, I will say that I have been running an Etsy business, therefore selling stickers for about, I want to say like 7 years or more. And I've only had two stickers of mine get lost in those 7 years. So it is a possibility because it did happen to me, but two in the last 7 years is not really much to worry about, in my opinion. And if it does happen to you, like it did to me, what I would suggest is just to redo the order and send it to the customer again. And like I said, to avoid this later in the future, I would suggest shipping with tracking. But even still, I wouldn't be that concerned about shipping with stamps because two in the last 7 years is not that much. Shipping decals slash stickers with USPS standard shipping. Now they put standard shipping. I'm gonna assume that's through the flat rate option because, yeah, I'm just gonna assume it's the flat rate option. Using a poly mailer, is that acceptable? So USPS is only concerned when you're using the flat option, which is what I mentioned earlier when I said that you should be shipping stickers with tracking. That is through the flat option through Etsy. So if you're using that and you use a poly mailer, the only thing that USPS is concerned about is that you follow the rules of the length and width and height. I think, yeah, I think it's considered height because height needs to be a very specific number. I believe it's point something. So it has to be very thin, basically. So as long as you're following that, I don't think it matters if you use a poly mailer. Would someone be able to ship a USPS priority mail flat rate box wrapped in a poly mailer and ship it as first class? So this is technically breaking the rules because priority mail boxes or envelopes or basically anything priority mail is free. So you can order it through the USPS website for free, and they will even ship it out to you for free. So you're literally paying zero. And it is that way because USPS is making or getting their money back from you purchasing the priority mail shipping label. So if you're getting the free supplies and using it to buy a cheaper shipping label, that is 100% breaking the rules. And if you are caught, like let's say they open the package and they see that you're using priority mail, but the shipping label is first class, you will either have to pay the priority mail, or worse, your customer will have to pay the difference. So definitely would not recommend that. And I also don't think people should be doing that because it could end up ruining it for everyone, and then we don't get access to the priority mail shipping supplies for free anymore. So I would definitely not do this. Next question. I am trying to start selling Polaroids, but I don't know how I should send it out. How do I avoid getting charged? Could I send them through a regular envelope? So, as I mentioned in the very beginning of this video, and that you could use stamps if that is easier for you, but I would highly recommend, again, if you're using Etsy, to use the flat rate option because it does include tracking and it's basically the same price as a stamp. And you have that added protection because if the customer says they didn't receive it, but on your end, it shows that it's delivered, Etsy will side with you if they open a case. So definitely consider using the tracking method. Okay, so again, I'm assuming this is about the flat rate option, which is the video that I tagged earlier in this video. And that is, what is the max envelope size this will work on? So the max length is 11 inches and the max width is 6 inches. And the height has to stay the same, 0.25. Does this count towards Star Seller program, which is on Etsy? And it does because it includes tracking. So any shipping that includes tracking will count towards the Star Seller program. And they also asked, are there any downsides to shipping like this? I think the only downside that I can really think of is that sometimes USPS won't track it like a regular package. So sometimes you'll have packages, or I guess I should say envelopes, that don't update until your customer reviews it. So, like, you'll have some packages or envelopes still be stuck at like a specific point or a specific city or a specific state for like a few days, and sometimes they won't even update at all that it was delivered, and you'll only know that it was delivered because the customer left a review. So for me, that's the only downside to shipping like this, is that sometimes it will show up like that and it will never say it was delivered. But yeah, besides that, I haven't had any packages get lost. So earlier when I said that I had 2 stickers get lost, that was with stamps. I've never had any instance of a envelope getting lost with the flat rate option. Okay, so this is for stamped envelopes, and someone's asking if there's a weight limit to using Forever stamps. And yes, the weight limit is 1 ounce, but you can purchase additional ounces. So they're separate stamps. Each one is an additional ounce. So you can use a Forever stamp and then use these stamps if it's heavier than 1 ounce. So if it's 2 ounces, you'll use a Forever stamp and then the additional 1 ounce. If you're asking like, oh, well, why not use 2 Forever stamps? And you could do that, but it's actually cheaper to just purchase the additional ounces instead of buying 2 Forever stamps. Someone says, I made some sticker designs and had Sticker Mule print them. Do I need to add Sticker Mule as a production partner on Etsy? I would say yes, because technically you didn't make the stickers, you had another company make them, so I would include them as a production partner on Etsy, which is very simple to do. I'll show it on the screen of how to do it. Okay, so someone asks, again, flat rate option. Just to clarify, if I use Etsy's shipping label, I don't need to add any stamps to my envelopes, bendable regular or bendable yellow/white envelopes. Just basically stick the Etsy label and drop it off in the lobby's mailbox. That is correct. So even though the shipping label for the flat rate option does look different to other shipping labels, it is considered a 100% a shipping label. You don't need to add any additional postage or anything, and you can either go to the post office or you can even just deposit it in your regular mailbox, like a regular envelope. Piggyback off this, someone is asking about the flat rate option as well. Would this method be okay to ship with a 6x10 bubble mailer? And they are saying that it is bendable and only weighs 1 ounce. So the 1 ounce isn't even relevant because I think you can go up to 3 ounces. The only thing that has to be that I would be concerned about is that it is 0.25 in height. So since it's a bubble mailer, it is going to be thicker. So as long as the height is not, or the thickness of the bubble mailer is not over 0.25, you should be fine. The reason they're mentioning that it's bendable is that in order to use the flat rate option, it does have to be able to bend. You can't have a stiff envelope. This question I kind of already answered, but the second one I didn't. So they're asking, do these shipping labels have a scannable barcode? Yes, they do. So again, it does look a little different, but it will have a barcode at the top right. Because I know it has like a QR kind of looking one in it, but it also has like a regular barcode. So yes, it does. And yes, they are able to scan it. So I saved this as last because it's a little lengthy. This person is basically asking me if I have any tips for someone who is just starting out and they're not really seeing progress. They're asking if it's just a waiting game, and how long did it take me to start getting consistent sales. So when you first start out, I will say it does take a minute for you to get sales. The only thing I would suggest is just to keep adding more listings, because the more listings you have, the more you'll be on Etsy's search, because there is a lot of people on Etsy now. When I first started, there wasn't as many people on Etsy. I believe now it's a lot harder to get noticed. So my only tips would be keep posting. The more listings you have, the better. You could also promote, not in the sense of like doing ads and paying for them, but like just start posting your products on other pages such as like Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram. Just put, your products out there basically. For me, it didn't take that long for me to get my first sale. I think it took me like, I want to say like 2 weeks. It's been a while, but I want to say like 2 weeks. But as I said, this was before Etsy got popular, so I would say to just be patient, just keep doing what you're doing, post more, post on social medias. I do plan on making a more in-depth video about Etsy tips or just small business tips in general sometime in the future. Please let me know if you're interested in that in the comments, and I would definitely consider making that video. But yeah, so that's all the questions I have for you today. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments. I would be happy to help. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys later.